as we're playing musical chairs around me. I don't know, might continue during the video, who knows? But we are excited to be here. We have a really cool project that's going to be a lot of fun today. Yeah, come on in. It's okay. It's okay. But before I even get started introducing our artist, I want to talk a little bit about getting discouraged when you're doing art, because that is something that happens to all of us. Have you ever worked really hard on a drawing or a painting, and at some point in the process, you're just like, this is terrible. I ruined this picture. I am no good at this. I hear this all the time as an art teacher, and you know what? I say it sometimes too. So it's something we don't even grow out of, but it's something really important to talk about, because so many people come and tell me, so many adults, so many kids, so many adults tell me, I'm no good at art. I can't draw. I can't paint, whatever it is. And do you know what the difference between someone who can't draw and someone who can draw is? Is it that they were just born being able to draw? Is it that they're just amazingly talented? No, it really isn't. The difference is someone who can draw kept drawing until they could. Let me say that one more time. The difference between someone who can't draw and someone who can draw is that the person who can kept drawing until they could. We all do bad drawings and we all do bad paintings. And the key is to just keep going. If you do a terrible drawing or painting, you know what? You can be like, whew, that's one less drawing or painting inside of me. Yes, I'm closer to being good at this. But if you get discouraged and you give up, guess what? You're never going to get better at it. So part of learning to draw and learning to paint is the process of becoming better at something. When you start learning a musical instrument, like say you took piano lessons, you didn't expect to be able to play Mozart the first time you sat down at the piano. You have to try easy songs and a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. When you learn math in school, they don't start with calculus in kindergarten. Lou, do you learn calculus in kindergarten? No, what do you learn in math in kindergarten?
Plus and minus.
Plus and minus. You start at the beginning because your skills are at the beginning. And it's the same thing at art. So instead of being discouraged and instead of comparing your work, so often I'll have students that'll look at the famous artist and be like, I could never do that. And you know what? When they were your age, they couldn't do it either. But they kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And that's how they got really good. So something that I don't allow in my art class is for people to say, I can't. Because if you say I can't, you're going to start to believe that you can't. And you just have to keep doing it until you can. Remember, the difference between someone who can't draw and someone who can draw is the person who can kept doing it until they could. All right, you with me? So nobody's saying I can't. Our project today is a little bit tricky. It really doesn't require any skill, but it requires a little bit of patience and a little bit of stick-with-itness. So no giving up, no I can't. And here's our famous artist of the day. This is one of our famous artists' most famous paintings. And yes, this is a painting. It's not something she did on a computer. She started to do these back in like the 1960s. And she does them by hand. And they're huge. And they're incredibly straight lines. And I'm sure you stand in front of them and are like, holy cow, how did she do that? But there is something unique about all of her work, black and white. These are all examples of her early works. She did end up adding color later, but you know what? I only have a black and white printer, so I only printed black. Here are some of her early works, her black and white images. She is an English painter, born in London, and she's still alive today. Isn't that exciting? I get really excited when we're talking about an artist who's still alive. And here's a picture of her standing in front of her work. Gives you an idea of the scale of the work. It's big. She's not doing tiny, tiny little drawings. She's doing wall-size paintings, which makes it all the more incredible. Yes. 88. But you spoiled it. Anybody know who our famous artist of the day is? Bridget Riley. Like I said, she's an English artist born in London in 1931, and she is still alive and still working with a lot of help from a bunch of assistants. But she comes up with the ideas for her drawings, and her assistants actually help her paint them these days. But yes, somebody said they all move. Her drawings and her paintings look like they're moving. It looks like this wall, for one, it looks like the wall is 3D or like the lines are moving. If you stand and stare in front of a painting, it's going to start playing tricks on your eyes, making it look like it's waving or it's undulating, but it's just staying still. And it's flat, it's 2D. This is not a 3D image, despite the fact that it looks like it kind of waves or like it's kind of like a mountain. So her paintings play tricks on your eyes, which is why it is called op art. Op is short for optical illusions. It's op art. It plays with your eyes. It tricks you into thinking that it's moving or that it's 3D or that it just starts making your eyes kind of like this one. If you look at too long, my eyes start to like kind of blur. Figure it out. It almost looks like the line around this shape, that it's kind of like moving a little bit, vibrating. Does anybody else get that feeling when you stare at it?
Yeah.
And this one looks like it's folding, like fabric. If you folded fabric, kind of like a flag in the wind, how the wind makes it curve and stuff like that. It gives you that feeling, despite being a flat image, or makes you feel like you're spiraling inward to the circle. And again, stare at it. Are you getting dizzy? It seems to really, really play with your eyes. And look how it looks like this. It's almost like someone back here is like sucking this painting back in here because this is going deeper and deeper in. And yet it's not. It's flat. It's 2D. And again, she paints them by hand and they're huge and it's amazing. Super, super cool. I have never seen any of these in person. I would love to go to London and stand in front of a bunch of her paintings and just stand there until everything seems to be moving. It sounds like a really, really cool, immersive experience. So optical art, optical illusions, they play with our eyes. They trick us a little to make us think they're moving or that they're 3D or, you know, something like that. Am I boring you? All right, questions about our artist, Bridget Riley. Oh, and I wanted to say, I started out with that little spiel about how not to get discouraged in art and stuff, because it took Bridget quite a while to find her art. She had a rough start and she couldn't figure out what she wanted to say in her art and how to do it. And it took her quite a while. She was born in 1931 and she didn't start to really do it until the 1960s. And then she started to get noticed. And before then she taught and she did various other things, but it took her a while to figure it out. Sometimes we look at these really creative artists and we're like, how did they ever think of that? And you know what? They didn't when they were your age. It took them a while. They tried lots of different kinds of art and lots of different styles and eventually found their thing. So again, don't get discouraged if you don't have it all figured out right now. It takes a while sometimes. So we are going to have some fun with some different optical art projects. And I'm going to show a couple of different ones. I'm going to start with probably the easiest one. So if you're intimidated or if you're a very young student, anyone can do this with a little help, maybe. Having a straight edge or a ruler. You don't have to have a ruler. I don't want you to run out to the store and get a ruler. Let's stay home. Use the edge of a book or a piece of cardboard, anything like that. I happen to have a couple of rulers, so we're going to use those. But again, you don't have to have a ruler. So for our first project, we're going to start with, where did it go? Something like this. So you can do this shape here in the middle, or you can do any shape you want. It doesn't matter. Totally up to you. So hold on. And my kiddos are going to, which of you guys are going to do this one alongside me? All of you can, or one of you can? She's off screen, but little red over here is going to work on this project. Okay. You're going to do it too?
I want to do all.
You want to do all? Well, you are going to have to get off my lap for a second if you're going to do the project. You want to come sit over here?
Yeah.
And we are very, very happy that Blondie here is joining us. She has pneumonia and has been terribly sick. And she loves to do art and has wanted to be here for all of the videos, but she has been very sick. on the couch and has had a hard time coming up the stairs to the art room. So we're glad she's here today, and we hope she doesn't start coughing because it sounds horrible.
She may still look like a ghost. But
Yeah, she kind of looks a little like a ghost, but she's actually getting better. So yay, yay. We're all really, really excited that she's getting better. Okay, so to start out, draw your shape in the middle of your page. And it can be any shape. It can be a circle. You can go ahead and get some big circle and trace a circle right in the middle of your page. That's what Lou's going to do here. So go ahead and trace the circle, Lou. You guys going to draw your shape? It can be any shape you want. All right. Whoops, let's put that aside.
We did it with a heart.
Yeah, go ahead and do a heart if you want. You can do a diamond, you can do a heart, whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We did do it with a heart.
I think we did it near Valentine's Day. Okay, don't.
Or for the calendar.
No charcoal pencils right now. We want pencils we can erase. Though, like always, keep your eraser to the side to start because we don't want to use it as a crutch. For those of you just joining us, our artist of the day is Bridget Riley, and she is famous for op art. And the first project we're going to do is similar to this. Op art being optical illusions that plays with our eyes, makes us feel like it's moving or sinking or undulating or spiraling or whatever it is. Kind of feels a little bit mesmerizing as you look at it. Yes.
Was it this one or this one?
Either way you want it. Either way. Hold on. Where did our ruler go? Okay, so when you have your shape that little blondie here drew in the middle, and remember you can do any shape you want. Circle, square, diamond, heart, whatever you can think of. Top hat. Is that a top hat? No, it's a letter I. You can do, perfect. Do the first letter of your first name. That'd be fun. And then with your shape in the middle, hey, hun, can you tip the screen down just a little bit so I don't have to keep picking it up? Then you need to do the lines across the page. So go ahead and trace the lines. To maybe make it a little bit easier to have your lines evenly spaced, go ahead and trace, if you have a ruler, trace either side of your ruler. If you don't, if you're just using the straight edge of a book or something, then don't worry about that. But go ahead and do your straight lines all the way across the page, trying to make them as evenly spaced as possible. There is a precision to her work that is incredibly impressive when it's done. And like I said, takes a little bit of patience while you're doing it. Did you know that art takes patience? Artists aren't always thought of as the most patient people, but it takes patience to be an artist. Since that didn't give us very many lines through our circle, and we really want this to look cool, I'm going to go back and draw lines in between each of my lines so that we have twice as many lines. How's that sound? That'll give us a second here. Now we just have the one, excuse me, please. We just have the one shape in the middle, but another variation would also be, you could have more than one shape. Ours kind of looks like we blew a big bubble. Oops, my ruler moved. Blew a big bubble in the middle. Well, I could have some smaller bubbles there too. So should we just have the one bubble or should we have a bunch of bubbles? We should have more bubbles. All right. Lucy said we should have more bubbles. Hold on. We're gonna trace this one up here or down here. No?
I want other shapes.
Oh no, let's just stick with bubbles for now. Okay, go ahead and trace it. What? Oh, I and W. I wonder what that stands for.
Isaac Whitman.
Oh, you were right. Never would have thought of that. Good work. We've got another circle here. And we're going to go ahead and do one more over here.
No, not one.
Not one more. More than one more. We're getting a little crazy here. Something done worth doing is worth doing really well. One more? We'll just do one more, right? Okay, that's it. The hairbrush? You want to trace a little circle? Okay. So you can find, if you're doing tracing circles like Lou and I are doing, whoo, that is a funny shaped circle. If you're tracing circles, find lots of things around your house that are circles. All right, we have our shape or our shapes because we are overachievers. So what you have to do now is that pattern of every other. And what is the thing about this one that makes it look cool? What did she do that tricks you?
She makes the inside different than the outside by coloring black and next white, and then on the top it's white and next black.
So it alternates, right? Here we've got black, white, black, and here we've got white, black, white. So if you're coloring this line black, you can't color it black on the inside. You can't keep that going, right? You have to switch so that the colors are kitty corner and not connected. So easy way to make sure you're doing that. If you're going to do it just with, you can do this just with pencil. You also can bring markers into it. You can keep it black and white, or you can go ahead and have color and fill them in a little bit. But we're going to start out just with the black and white just to show you. Oh, yes.
Mom,
You may have the ruler, sir. Yes, honey.
It's kind of tricksy because it looks like she did lines.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so just quick, I'm going to fill in an area. And remember, we're doing a pattern. We're doing a dark. And then we got to leave this one white. And then we do the next one dark.
But we do this one dark.
And yeah, you've got to stop filling in the dark space when you get to your shape, because we're not going to go straight through that shape. The key here, we've got our pattern going, black, white, is now on the inside. And yeah, I'll give this to you to take over. On the inside, it's the opposite.
Black, white, white, black, white, black, white, black.
Yep, it's the opposite. And then when you get down to the bottom, it's got to be the opposite again, going out the other side of your shape. My husband is actually on call right now for the power company that he works for. So forgive the phone ringing in the background. He has to keep, whoa, hold on. He has to keep the phone on at all times. So there you go. We've got the black line. And then when we get to the shape, it switches. And when we get out the top, it switches back again. Like our artist, Bridget Riley's. So there you go. There's the first project option. It's the simplest. It's a good one to start with if you're a little intimidated by some of her stuff. And it's a good one for younger students to do. So Lou, now I need you to move over here so I can do the next one. Sweetheart, I need you to move to the side. Thank you. All right, so that's project number 1. There you go. Grace, if you need a hard edge, you can grab a book that you can trace along the side. All right. This one is another one you guys could do, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Wiggly lines that have a bigger wiggle, and then a smaller wiggle, and a smaller wiggle. And just the important thing is keeping your lines parallel, that they follow each other as they go along that. So I'm not going to demonstrate that one. Question is, which of these two should I demonstrate?
I like this one always.
The circle one?
Yeah.
You're not going to
No,
do the
this one.
This one?
Circle.
Anybody that's live, that's joined us, want to weigh in? Which one should I demonstrate? Anyone have an opinion?
No.
No. This girl over here doesn't have an opinion, which is funny because she's normally full of opinions.
Circle.
I'm going to go ahead and do this one.
No, circle.
And maybe we can quick do that one at the end. Mary's actually going to get started on this one. The way to start with this one is to draw a series of circles gradually getting bigger. But the important thing is that they're not going to be perfectly centered. Your smaller circle isn't going to be perfectly in the middle of the other circle. Okay. So like you have this one here, and then this one is a little bit high on the top, and then this one's a little high on the bottom. So they go around. Does that make sense? Okay. Mary's going to get started on that one while I get started on this one to show you how to do this one. Okay. We'll do it at the same time. Oh goodness. Everyone's weighing in with circle. So maybe we should do circle. Sorry. It was a little bit delayed, so I didn't see your guys' responses right away. Okay. We're going to start with the circle one then. So the way to do the circle one, also, I will say, the circle one, it's going to take some patience. It's going to take a while to do, okay? So stick with it. Going to go ahead and trace a circle, a little circle, like the top of a marker cap. It is a little hard to draw a perfect circle when your table is shaking. We are working on a very wobbly folding table, so our table shakes a lot. So then we got to get our circle, bigger circle, bigger circle, bigger circle. What I was trying to explain to Mary, and I wasn't doing it in a way that made a lot of sense, is that your smaller circles aren't going to be dead center. They're going to be slightly off. And then the next one that gets a little bit bigger is again going to be slightly off, but it's not going to be slightly off in the same direction. Like if your little circle was kind of to the left and high, then make it the next time, make it kind of down to the right and high and lower. Does that make sense? I'm having a hard time explaining it in a way that makes sense. What? You need an eraser. There's bound to be one around here somewhere. I just kind of hide them. I don't throw them away. Oh, I think your sister might have one. So see what I mean? They're all a little off kilter, but they're not off kilter in the same way. I don't think I have a bigger shape.
I'm kidding.
Bigger circle right here.
Yes, you
I
do.
might just have
It
to
doesn't work.
wing it for my next circle.
That looks fine.
That's too big of a circle. So I'm gonna. Hey, Little Red, can you give her an eraser, please?
I don't have an eraser. Yes, you do. It works nothing. It works,
It works
fine.
nothing.
Eraser very dry.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna pretend that it's part of the optical illusion that my circle isn't perfect. Normally, I would have wandered around the house a little bit more and found a better looking circle before I got going. But there we go. So we got our circles. They're not perfectly centered. They're off a little bit because we are working on doing this project. If you've just recently joined us, our artist, Bridget Riley, I already walked you through the first option project, which is the simpler one. And my kiddos over here, can I show this for a second? Are working on that. You can do any shape in the middle. Isaac did his initial, I, and he's working on making it designed like this where it's every other. Lou is working on circles that go every other. And Little Red over here is doing hearts.
I'm not little.
You're not little, but you are littler than the other redhead in our house.
She's the oldest, so that's not fair.
It is not fair. I guarantee one day you will be taller than she is. Where do my circles go? Your feet will be bigger. Okay, so with our second project, that's the circle one by popular demand, we get to this point. Are you guys at this point? Are you with me or are you waiting to do it till the end? Either way works. If you're trying to do it along with me and I move a little too fast, then it's okay. You can go back and rewind and go back into the video and watch again things that you need to do, or you can pause it and join us, rejoin us live when you're ready. So to do this, it does look like in the very center, she left it white. You can't pause it when it's live, but you can pause it later once it uploads. Okay. Let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, she has, oh goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 rings of her circle. We're gonna keep it a little simpler than that because we don't actually want to be here until the end of quarantine doing our circle art. We just would like to spend a little bit of time this morning. So what you're gonna do, one way to start this is around, I'm gonna start on my second inner circle and I'm gonna go through and draw dots around my circle that are as evenly spaced as I can do with the naked eye.
Naked eye.
Naked eye. By that I mean just by eyeballing it, by judging it by eye, not by measuring it. Okay. So I've got my little dots. There's evenly spaced. All right, sounds good. You can totally wait and do it later. And I'm going to go ahead and draw it at an angle to my circle, to the inner one. Okay, and I'm going to go around the circle. And because the inner circle is smaller, the space between where they hit that circle is going to be a little bit closer together. That's going to help with the illusion. And, you know, this is one of those examples of practice makes perfect. I have never actually done this circle before, so mine's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. Sorry, now my phone's ringing. But we've got that first inner circle. You can see how it's kind of spiraling around, okay? Then
Everyone's phones are ringing.
Everyone's phones are ringing, my goodness. So this one, on this inner circle, it goes this way. So now we need to make it zigged here. We got to zag it there, okay? So that it zigzags. Right? So it's going to zag now. Oh, let's try not to shake the table too much, okay? Which is hard to do when you're coloring. I know.
She has markers.
Yeah. She's coloring in with markers. That's why I had you get the markers.
Why aren't you only doing zags?
Because I did zigs on the first one. So now I do zags. So how's it looking? We zigged in the first inner circle and we zagged in the second one. What are we going to do next? We have to brag? I don't know what that one's talking about. We zigged, we zagged. Now we got to zig again. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. Just back, forth, back, forth. So, so you pick up exactly where your line hit that circle, and now we're going to make it go in the other direction. Notice also some of hers are more slanted and some are closer to straight. So you can try that too, and that'll help with the illusion. Yeah. So then now make it kind of a bigger zig there. So mine were pretty slanted that time, so I'm going to make them not quite as slanted the next time around. So by not quite as slanted, I mean if that time it was this slanted, the next time I'm going to make it closer to straight, like this. This was at much more extreme of an angle. This one's not quite as tilted. That is an official word there. Not quite as tilted. You like that? Yes, I might have intentionally worn a zigzag shirt for this project. I don't always plan my outfits. Yeah, Grace actually has a bit of an optical illusion on her shirt as well. I don't always plan my outfits to match the art lesson, but you know, if you can, why not?
I don't.
No, you didn't know what it was though, so it's not your fault.
I kind of did.
So there we go. It's spreading out. The next one I'm going to make really slanty. Nice extreme angle. As I go around. Now, this is one thing, you know, this takes a while doing it on our little piece of paper. Can you imagine doing this on a wall size piece of paper?
Yes.
I mean, how long does that take? I have no idea. That's why she has assistance helper these days. But she still comes up with the pattern herself, the idea, and then she has her assistants help fill them in. And I do not blame her. So there you go. We zigged, we zagged, and we did it again and again and again, right? Now, to make this finished, sounds good. Thanks, Caroline. To make this finished, we now need to color the spaces in to make it so there's a black zig and a white zig and a black zag and a white zag. So again, you can just use your pencil. No, those go on the dry erase board. We're not going to do this on paper. Oh yeah, sure. You can draw on the dry erase board behind us. We can make it black and white or we can make it colorful, okay? Totally up to you. What do you think? Should I make it black and white? Should I make it colorful? Anyone have an opinion?
Colorful.
Colorful.
Black and white.
Black. Oh goodness. I need someone to break the tie.
Colorful.
One says colorful, one says black and white.
Colorful.
You only need to say it once.
Colorful.
Okay, we're going colorful.
I said it louder than you.
I gotta see if the marker actually works. I don't know about you guys, but my house is full of markers that don't actually work. Is that just something that happens in our house?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Lucy, when she was little, she used to leave every marker cap off when she used them.
True story.
No, it's not.
Unfortunately, my dear, it is. So, in coloring it in, you just need to keep track of where you are.
Still do.
Whereas on our, please, girls, that's enough. Whereas on the first project, we alternated which spot we filled in. This time, we're keeping it the same. So we follow it all the way in. And then we need to leave the next one blank. And we'll go ahead and color in the next one. So I did give fair warning that this project's a little tricky, but at the same time, remember, it doesn't require a lot of technical ability or skill. You don't have to be able to draw a person. You just have to have the patience to stick with it and to keep drawing those lines and keep filling the things in. Anybody can do this if they sit down and give it the time that it needs. So why is she so famous if it's something anybody can do? Anyone have an answer? Why is she so famous if she's doing art that anybody could do?
Because every artist can do art that everyone can do, but she did a large size of it.
Yeah, one of the things that is really cool is how large she did it. But I think the most important part of what you said is the end there. She did it. That's the difference. She took the time. Oh, good. Everyone else said color too. She has taken the time over years and years and years to do the work, to come up with the ideas, the different ways to play optical tricks on our eyes. She came up with the ideas and she spent the time doing them and then showing them to the world. That, like, sometimes famous artists, I mean, you're just blown away at the skill they have. And sometimes the difference between them and the rest of us is just that they did it. And that's cool. And that's to be applauded. Because remember, the difference between someone who can and someone who can't is just that the person who can kept doing it until they could. And so why is she famous? Because she did. Because she did it. And is continuing to do it in her 80s. Oh, I forgot to ask. If she was born in 1931 and is still alive today, how old is she today?
I forgot it. Tiny.
How's it looking? Is it tricking your eyes at all?
1931. Okay. So.
It's okay. Excuse the phone ringing in the background. I mentioned earlier my husband's actually on call right now. If there are
When was her birthday?
power emergencies for the power company he works for, he's the one that they call right now.
When was her birthday?
I don't know.
Has she reached her birthday?
Has she had her birthday yet this year?
Mm-hmm.
I will have to look this up. Oh, thank you. Yes, she is old. She is old.
Oh, no.
But how old?
I know. Is it 99 or?
She was born in April.
Wait, so April, wait.
88. She is 88 years old.
How did I do the math wrong? No, you didn't do it wrong. She just hasn't had her birthday yet. But I wrote 89. I was gonna say
she will be 89 on her birthday next month.
I was gonna say 88.
You were gonna say 88? Well, good work. All right, so
on a clear piece of paper. Well, not that clear.
If you really like this stuff, creating optical illusion arts. There are so many tutorials out there on how to do different kinds of ones. She is not the only famous op art artist. Maris, can you hand me those papers over there? Victor Vassarelli is another one. This is a cool, fun project to do. I've done this before in classes of first and second graders, so it's totally doable. Lots of tutorials on Pinterest and YouTube that can walk you through them. Look her up on YouTube. Look up how to draw optical illusions. Really, really cool. And yeah, I totally agree. The difference is the commitment, the time commitment to do it. The difference between the reason she's famous is because she has spent the time doing this and perfecting it. And she does it with such precision. Again, remember, these lines are amazingly straight, and she's painting them by hand, completely by hand, which is so, so cool. So there you go. There's mine. It kind of looks like one of those mint candies, but a little bit like, I don't know, like a crazy dream of a mint candy. What? It's a Willy Wonka mint candy. There you go.
Mom, she's a vampire.
Yeah, she likes to add to the drawings in the background. So any questions about our artist or our art projects? Want to see the progress they're making? Can I show?
Sure. I'm done.
Here's how Sir Isaac is doing. And Little Red is done. Her hearts look amazing.
I'm not little.
And her math on the back to show how old she is. Good job.
I'm not little.
Okay, you're right. You're not little.
I am.
Little Blondie gave up to go decorate the board. And our sickie here, Pneumonia Girl, she is hard at work on hers. Has a little bit of ways to go. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. All right. No sword fighting with pencils.
You said little. I am not little.
Okay.
You are.
Shorter? Younger? We're going to work on a new nickname for girly girl over here because
Goose?
she doesn't like her. Yes, Goose. That's right. We often call her Goose.
Red Goose.
I try and call my kids by nicknames
Red
on
Goose.
Facebook and YouTube just
Goose.
as a privacy thing.
Red Goose.
But I often forget and call them by their names. Red Goose. Okay, she's a Red Goose. That's her. That's her sign. Okay, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed learning about Bridget Riley and op art. Hope you have fun doing your project. Share it with us in the comments. We'd love to see it. And I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you're not going too crazy. I hope this helps you a little bit.
Crazy.
right.
Okay.
The op art would be another fun thing to do with sidewalk chalk out in the street to do some crazy big optical illusions and make your neighbors go, whoa.
No, I just want to keep playing chess.
Yeah, we did some crazy things with chalk out in our neighborhood yesterday.
Like I built a check.
He drew a big chessboard and used soccer balls and other things as the chess pieces. They sometimes roll away, but you know, what are you gonna do?
That's why.
And we did a big maze and some spiral stuff.
He
So
put glass to make them stay.
okay. So I hope you guys have a good day and find ways to stay entertained and healthy and happy. Best of luck to all of you and happy arting.